Less than 24 hours remain. League start sweat is starting to creep in on the back of my neck because I haven't quite locked in what I'm going to do. I've got some good contenders though. But what I do know is how I'm going to start my Atlas tree once I get to maps. And that's what this video is going to be about. I will put some links in the description box below if you want to have something to mess around with. We're using PoE Planner, as you can see. We'll start off with the beginning stages, and then we have option 1 and option 2. And that's only because my option 3 is too experimental. A secret option 3. That's going to depend entirely on how Ultimatum feels when we get to play it and if it's actually valuable to play. Because that's going to be more on the left side of the tree, and maybe red altars. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to be a good idea, but we'll find out as I play. But for now, my plan is this as a start, and then following up with option 1 or option 2. Anyway, this as a start should be very clear to you once you understand Wandering Path. The small passive skills grant, or at least the notables grant nothing, and then the increased effect of small Atlas passive skills gets doubled, 100% extra. With these travel nodes, right? So the plan is you start at the beginning, you go immediately through the middle, you go past start, collect $200, and go to Wandering Path. That's step 1. Step 2 is then to pick up the high map tier chance here on the right, as well as on the left. And then if you want, you can get a third one on top of here, these 2 minor nodes, to maximize it. These are kind of like extra. You don't have to do these. But otherwise, you can just immediately pick up all these tiny nodes that have 4% chance for 1 monster in each of your maps to drop an additional connected map. Now, if you are just progressing your Atlas, every map you do that's new has new adjacent maps most of the time. So that's going to drop new maps. You can keep on trucking. You don't really have to slow down. This is one of the fastest way to get like Atlas completion. And we have pretty much every single node except for the ones that are totally out of the way. But you don't really need more. As you can see, 124 chance, 5% for duplication. That will be the other way around in future options. But yes, this is like the big number, right? That's why we are trying to get to it. And most of the time, we get higher tiers, which means continuous progression as well. So that's very, very good. If you have a decent League starter build, you should be fine. We're going to be good. So once we have done this, we are going to continue either with option 1 or option 2. Option 1, and I'll put the links below for this as well, is a very familiar look. This is my base skeleton for my Vaal Temple farming. I will most likely go into Vaal Temple Prison, maybe even add some Ultimatum to it, really double down on that Vaal mechanic. Vaal everywhere. Just no side areas. Because, you know, well, maybe actually I might add some side areas because of the changes to the GCP and qualities, but who knows? This is basically the skeleton of that. As you can see, we have cut the middle out, lost a lot of weight there. We pick up the boxes because Vaal Temple. We do go Expedition, you know, Tujin with a little bit divvy right here and then, and some like more selective bubblegum currency. We also have Harvest because Harvest is broken, and even if you don't like it like you still have to have it because it's good. It also helps you get more currency out of other mechanics. Like, for example, if you do essences and such, you can reroll for the higher essences. And we are going to get a decent amount of corrupted essences with Vaal Temple, which we then can transfer into the more expensive corrupted essences. Incredible money making. I made so many divines with that last league. It's insane. So yeah, we pick up all the chance of getting the mechanic down here, not the notables, because we are once again using Wandering Path still. We pick up all the minor nodes here for Harvest, picking up the Expedition. We have 1 dead Expedition node because it blocks otherwise the 16% chance we miss out on. You could remove these 3 if you wanted to. We pick up the Extreme Archaeology because we just want to go and blow things up and keep moving. Our build that I'm planning is going to be good for the vast majority of mods. So unless I don't have a damage immune mod, I should be good. So 90% of the time, I probably can get away with this. Otherwise, you can just unspec this and just do it manually if that's more comfortable. If you want to take the time for that, that's fine. Gives you a point back. You can go anywhere else with that. We pick up all the Strongbox minor nodes because these also affect the Vaal Temple mods. very good. More life force, obviously. The altar nodes, clearly. I like blue because I typically play Pathfinders, and red is a nightmare. I don't know what they were thinking with those meteors, but they need to stop. They need to stop. Now, what we should not stop with is more harvest stuff. If you think this is too much dedication to a single color, that's fine. You can unspec that. Perfectly fine. You can kind of push the leverage on which ones you're more likely to get. Like, for example, if red's really, really bad, but blue is actually still really, really good, because through the league it kind of fluctuates, right? You can save some points, and also at the beginning, you don't have to actually optimize this really, really badly. So you have some flexibility there. We do pick up a lot of duplication maps, obviously. We're also going to have a lot of map sustain, which we then duplicate, so that's going to sustain ourselves, but we're also most likely going to over sustain. And typically throughout the league, you can sell, if you have a good map favored, you get a bunch of those. You can actually sell those for like just an inventory full for like a divvy, just free divvy, if you're willing to interact with TFT, which is becoming a point of contest for some folks. So dealer's choice. Aside from that, we do pick up the circle and the inner circle, more harvest nodes. We pick up all the quantity and chance here. Actually, we don't have to do this one, which actually gives us a point back, so props to us, which means we can maybe pick up some more duplicate. Very lovely. Other than that, some more map sustain. If you feel like you can over sustain maps with this strat anyway, which you will, you can also rip those out and dedicate them to other aspects on the Atlas tree. But other than that, we pick up one strongbox node here on the right, increase the quantity of items in those strong boxes, which also affects the Vaal. And then, of course, also growing hordes in combination with the Twist of Fate, because that's basically the Vaal Temple strat. And yeah, the hat. So this is a very basic Vaal Temple skeleton. You can optimize this depending on what content you may want to add into it. I'm probably going to see if I can tech in, if I like it, Ultimatum. But we don't know how it's going to feel yet, so I don't want to recommend something that's untested. If I do end up liking it, it probably will become part of my base build. And speaking of Ultimatum, we do have a second option. Not everybody enjoys Wandering Path. You do have to give up a lot of good stuff for it. So if I was not going to do Wandering Path, my tree would look something like this. At least in the early league, right? Because you still need Expedition for all that bubblegum. You need all the harvest nodes, because, well, the same reasons I discussed prior. Expedition as well, but without the dead nodes, because of the wonderful notables in Expedition, which are very, very valuable. So this is definitely better for Expedition to not run Wandering Path, in my opinion. We still pick up some harvest, pick up some more Eldritch Altar stuff, more Expedition, more harvest. The outer circle, inner circle. And as you can see, we also used the portal here to get the Ultimatum. Now, Ultimatum notables are pretty lovely, as well as the keystone here. So if you have a good build, this might be worth it. You can also unspec all of this if you don't like Ultimatum, and just go with Harbinger. Like, there's a lot of convenient Harbinger that is directly connected to the tree right here as well. So you don't actually have to spend many travel points or any travel points at all. You can immediately tech that in if that is what you want, as opposed to Expedition, which is probably the smarter idea due to the Orbs of Horizon and the the alterations, the regals and whatnot. So, or if you're really, really, really lucky, a Fracturing Shard. I've gotten shards. I've never gotten an orb. Have you? Maybe. Anyway, so this is like what I would recommend if you don't want to have a Wandering Path version of that Expedition Harvest build. It's just too good of a foundation. And also, you can change fundamental aspects of this. For example, if you don't like Tujin, but you do like Raw, because you want to craft a tri-ele bow, it's going to be very popular for a lot of people in this league. Yeah, maybe add a little ROG action there as opposed to Tujin, or if you're crazy, instead of Danny. You can do that too, of course. Entirely up to you. But these are just skeletons. You can mess around with them. I do encourage you to experiment depending on what your build, because of course if you have a bossing build, you might not clear giant packs very well, and if you have a map clear character, you might not take out bosses very well. So be wary of that. But these are my 3 recommended transfigured, right? 3 recommendations from start, and then option 1 from start to option 2. Other than that, I'm going to wish you all a good league start. I'm going to continue doing some research on how I am going to start with what build, and we'll go from there. Have a good night. Take care. Good luck. And see you in 24 hours. I'm out.